Right, so this is our mini class this week, and our theme is around the idea of how do you want to feel? So, like, what feelings do you want to have more of in your life? Like, most of us want to have more good feelings, more feelings of expansion, more feelings of being at peace or feeling ease, and fewer feelings of frustration and anger and sadness and all of that. Um, and of course, all of these things exist together, but sometimes we can really be our own worst enemy. Sorry, our own worst enemy around, getting what we want, because we tend to self-sabotage, right? So we'll have an idea of where we want to go and what we want to do. And if you've ever read a book called The Secret, which was very popular a number of years ago, and basically the premise is whatever you can imagine, if you keep your attention on it and you imagine it, enough, it will come to you. And that's a great idea. Like, I love that idea. Just think about it and it will manifest. But it's actually not that simple, because we have a lot. I mean, I do believe that we can manifest quite a bit by having, a clear goal and working towards that goal, and things tend to line up to make it happen. But we have a lot of subconscious internal blocks to our goals. We have a lot of self-sabotage that goes on. We have a lot of stories that we're not good enough or that we can't do it. We've been told how to think and feel, especially women, but men as well. We've often been told how to think or feel our whole lives, from good girls are seen and not heard and all of that. And so we actually tune out of our own truth and our own feelings, right? We tune out because it's like, well, that doesn't matter because there's a prescribed way I should be and feel. And so today, I really invite you to throw out those prescriptions of what you think you should feel and do, but also make room for your resistance, right? So sometimes we have a goal and we're like, I really want that goal, but I feel really resistant to doing it. And so we're going to make some room for resistance today. Resistance is allowed to exist in all of this. So we're going to start with sort of tuning into what we really want and how we want to feel more specifically. Right? A few weeks ago, we talked about what we really want, but what we really want to feel, how we want to feel. So we'll start briefly sitting, and then we'll get up and do some standing and moving around. It's a short class, so I want to make sure you get lots of movement in it. So I'm going to invite you just to find a comfortable seat for a couple of minutes, and we'll go from there. So you can be on a chair or the floor. It doesn't matter as long as you're comfortable. Right, and so we'll start with a little bit of grounding. So for the last 9 weeks, we've been looking at resilience and thriving. So the first half of our session was more about resilience, how we can bring ourselves back to a more regulated nervous system when we get thrown off. And for the last few weeks, we've been focusing on how can we move forward and really thrive in our lives. And so today, this idea of how do I want to feel? How do I want to be? We're going to start with a bit of grounding. So just getting into our bodies, getting into this moment, making the transition from whatever we were doing to this moment. So you can close your eyes if you like, or soften your focus if that feels more comfortable. And you might tune into your breath here, or sensation in your body, or sounds that you can hear. So choosing some focus that's in the present moment to just bring your attention there briefly. So focusing on the breath, or sounds, or feelings in your body for about a minute, just tuning in. And I encourage you to choose one: sounds, breath, or feeling. And feeling your sit bones, feeling your spine growing up out of that secure seat, feeling the crown of your head lifting towards the sky. And then take a moment to imagine how you would love to feel, what you would like to bring more of into your life. So maybe you want to feel more ease, you want to feel more joy, you want to feel more contentment. So really focusing on how you want to feel, and even imagine yourself, in a scenario where you feel this way. Imagine how you would feel, what you would see, you would hear, smell, taste. Really bringing a clear picture of what it would be like if you felt the way that you want to feel more. And then we're going to really invite that goal into our hearts by taking the arms to the sides, lifting them with a big breath in, and drawing the hands together and down to the heart. Reconnecting, how do I want to feel? Can you bring that feeling into your heart, even just a little bit right now? And then releasing, we'll do this 2 more times, reaching out and up, bringing the hands together and down to the heart, pausing there to connect with that feeling in any way that you're able to right now. And then 1 more time, lifting and bringing it to your heart. Great, and let's release the hands for a moment, and I invite you to simply notice any tension that you might feel as you bring your mind to this goal, any feeling of resistance. It might be literal tightness in your body. It might be a story that comes into your mind like, I don't deserve that, or that feels impossible, or whatever feels limiting to you, whatever feels like restriction to you. Just allowing it to bubble to the surface. And if nothing arises, that's fine. And whether or not you actually identify any particular resistance, know that most of the time, if we don't already have what we want, it's because there's some internal resistance or external resistance. It's something working, forcing us into this place. And let's bring the palms together at the heart again and just make space for this resistance. We don't need to eradicate it. It has a message and a gift to us. And so we're going to honor that message and gift by raising the hands, breathing in, and figuratively making space for our resistance as well as our dreams. Bringing the hands together, we'll do that 2 more times. So lifting up and making space. My resistance is absolutely fine. I can live with it. I can make friends with it. I can be with it. And it can exist here with me, along with my goals, my dreams, and my desires. Bringing the hands back to the heart. Take a couple more breaths here. Welcoming all that arises in each moment. Beautiful. So we're going to keep this idea alive as we go through our practice. Whatever we've got in our minds as we're doing our work is going to kind of increase in our lives. So we're going to come to stand. So take your time to get there. And anytime your mind might wander as we go through the practice and you think about it, you can bring your attention back over and over to this way you want to feel, right? Just how you want to be in your body, in your life. So take the feet a little bit apart. Take the hands to the hips, soften your knees, and we'll just do a little movement for the hips. So starting with just nice, easy circles. So often, this class happens live at lunchtime, so it's often a nice break if you've been sitting all day. But we tend to do so much sitting as it is, that just getting up and moving the hips around anytime can be really helpful. Beautiful. You can come back to the center and just find a comfortable stance, maybe feet roughly shoulder width, maybe the same as where you just were or slightly in, whatever feels good for some shoulder work. So we're going to reach one shoulder in towards the front and then roll it back. And as you roll it back, the other shoulder is going to naturally come forward and you're going to do the same. You're going to roll it back. Keep your knees soft. Let your waist move and stretch the sides of your body. You can even allow the head to gently move. You just don't want to fling your head around, especially if you're moving a little more quickly than I am. You want to really be cautious and honor your neck, but allowing it to gently move if that feels good. Lots of creaking and cracking in my body today. Good, and then give it a shake. Just give it a shake. You can shake the legs as well. Beautiful. And coming into mountain pose, we'll do a little bit of work with balance. And this is really just as much about focus as balance. So we're going to be lifting the heels and lowering the heels and really trying to come up slowly and lower down slowly. So give that a try, just rocking your weight forward, lifting your heels, and then slowly lowering the heels. The lowering part tends to be the more challenging part. So we get up here and we kind of lose it and then fall down, and that's fine. So lifting and lowering. And then if you like, you can add the arms. So as you lift the heels, you can also lift the arms. As you lower the heels, lowering the arms. If you like, you can coordinate breathing. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you come forward. Not forward, sorry, just down. We'll add the forward bend in a moment. So coming up, breathing in. Now as you come down, let the heels release, let the knees soften, and now let your body come forward. Hands can come to the knees, the shins, the ground. Coming all the way up. As you come up, you can raise the heels, lower, soften the knees, and come forward. So really slow it down. You can even take 2 or 3 breaths to do this full movement so that you're not feeling any kind of strain with your breath. Almost like you're in slow motion. And oh, how your parasympathetic nervous system loves to move slowly. By really tuning in. And this time as we come up, we'll keep the heels down. So we'll just raise the body, raise the arms, and then release your arms to your sides. Beautiful. So we're going to do a little bit more with the legs, so stretching the legs a little bit. And we'll take that stance that's a little bit like warrior, but a bit shorter than how we might normally do warrior. So if you take from feet together from mountain pose, you just take one foot, turn it out a little bit, and step the other foot forward. And then make sure you're comfortable. Hips are pointing in the same direction as the foot that stepped forward. You can bend that front knee slightly, and we'll inhale and lift the arms. And as you come forward, long spine, and you can bring your hands to the knee or the shin, blocks if you have them, or the ground if that's available. So you'll come up, lifting, breathing in, exhale, long spine. So it's really not about going forward as far as you can, but keeping the integrity of the pose. So keeping that length in your spine, softness in the knee, and really tuning into where and when you feel the stretch in the back of your front leg, honoring whatever limitations appear. Right, so you can stay for a couple of breaths here. So you want a little bend in your knees so you're not hyperextending. The more you're going to lift your tail, lift your heart, and arch your back, the more you'll actually feel the stretch in the back of the leg. If you want to go down a little more, you're welcome to. And then if it feels okay for you, you can now release, allow the back to bend. And if you can, bring your hands to the floor or blocks, or again, it may still be on the leg, and that is totally fine.
If you want a little more stretch, you can then start to move that front leg a little more straight. If it feels tight, bend and straighten. When you're ready to come up, you're going to press into both feet. Bring your hands up to your knee again. Find that length in your spine. And then reach the arms to the side. So feel how that makes your body work to hold yourself here. And then press into your feet. Slowly lift up, raising your arms. And slowly release. All right, let's step the feet together. And we'll move into the other side. So taking the opposite foot forward, again, turning the back foot out any amount that's comfortable for you. Soften your front knee. We'll inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, forward, letting your tail lift, spine lengthen, chest stays lifted. So we're inhaling and lifting. You can always just follow your own breath and do the movement at a comfortable pace. You don't have to coordinate your breathing and movement, especially if that feels awkward or it strains or your breath ends up not being a comfortable rate for you. Great, and again, you can pause here for a few breaths, lengthening through the spine. And if after some breaths it would feel good to you to go a little deeper, you can release forward, letting the chest come toward the thigh, the hands toward the ground. And again, you may want to bend and straighten that front leg just a little to ease into the stretch. If it feels like too much, you'll alter. Bring your blocks higher or bring your hand back to your knee. And then from here, when you come back up, hands to the knee, find that length in the spine, long neck. Press into your feet, and if it's available and doesn't feel like a strain, but feels like good effort, arms to the sides, pressing into your feet, lifting all the way up. And exhale to release. Beautiful. You can step your feet back side by side to mountain pose. We'll do a forward bend again. So reaching up with both arms, bending both knees, coming forward, letting the head release. Reaching up and coming forward. Okay, we're going to stay upright this time and release the arms to the sides. Right. Let your weight come into your heels a little more. Feel that regalness, that lifting, that opening in mountain pose. So we're not collapsed and depressed looking, but really open and alive. And then let's take the arms to the sides, reach up, bringing the hands together, bringing the hands to the heart. Again, connecting with how you want to feel. What wants to express itself more through you in your life? And then any resistance, whether you know about that resistance or whether it's an underground resistance that you're not even aware of, we're going to give that resistance space by lifting the hands and releasing. And then we'll take the feet wider. Okay. So from here, we'll do a gentle twist. So in this, we start in this starfish position with the arms to the sides. And I always like to keep the knees soft and just let the hips be nice and relaxed. So as you take one hand across to the other thigh or shin or foot or floor, you want to keep your spine long and keep your knees soft. So we'll come to the center and then switch sides. So the back arm can just rest on your lower back as you go side to side, or if it feels comfortable for your shoulder, it can swing back behind you. If you're coordinating breathing, exhale as you go down. Inhale as you come up. And then coming back to the center, we'll lower the arms. And we'll come into next a forward bend from this position. So reaching up with breath in. You'll bend both of your knees and either take your hands or your forearms onto your thighs to begin with. Take a few breaths here. And then if it's comfortable for you and you can reach, you can bring your fingertips to the ground. If not, you might use a chair. You can put your hands on a chair or blocks or whatever's handy. And then you want your feet to be wide enough so that as you bend one knee, you're feeling some stretch up the inner thigh of the other leg and then bend the other. So it may be subtle for you or it may be quite strong. You'll feel more stretch the more you keep your spine long, just as we did in that forward bend a moment ago. So you can bend and straighten one leg and then the other. And again, the more the legs come apart, the more that stretch becomes accessible up the inner leg. The more you keep your spine long, same, more accessible that stretch becomes. Right, and then you can try bending both knees, straightening both legs. Right, and then I invite you to walk the hands back. You can either bring them back to the thighs, and if you need to shuffle your feet in a little bit, feel free. Back to the thighs, elbows or hands, bending the knees. And again, if this feels accessible to you, it's a little bit more effort for the back to work, but you can take your elbows from your knees and arms to the side, staying in that sort of bent over squat. Lift your tail, lift your head, and then lift all the way up. Reaching overhead, hands come together, down to the heart. Pause here. And then you can step your feet together. Give a little shake, shaking the hands. Whew, and letting go of that effort. And then I'd love to invite you to lie down for a few minutes so we can just come down onto the back. You might want to bring your knees into your chest and do a little movement, either side to side or forward and back. Maybe circling around. So take a minute or two and tune into your own body. Tune into what would feel good for you. Right. And then when you feel complete with that, you can bring your feet back to the ground. Let your arms come to the ground a little bit away from your body. You can straighten your legs out if that's more comfortable for you, or you can leave them bent if you prefer. And if you want to keep your knees bent, but you don't want the effort holding them upright, as we take a couple of minutes to rest here at the end of the class, you can shuffle your feet a little wider, maybe wider than your hips. Let your knees fall together. And then your knees actually support each other. The hands can be on the ground or on your body, feeling for your breath, whatever feels more comfortable. And take a moment to feel the ground beneath you. Just let your body settle and rest in that support. Come back to this vision of how you love to feel. What do you want to bring more of into your life in terms of how you experience yourself, your emotions? We have a full range of emotions, right? We're not trying to eradicate any. We're trying to shift our compass needle to point in the direction we want to go. Where do you want to go? How do you want to feel? Breathe it into your body. Breathe it into your fingers and toes. Invite that feeling of how you want to be in the world into your body with your breath. And if any of that feeling is accessible to you right now, tune into that feeling. What does it feel like to feel this way? And if that feeling is not accessible to you, just keep it as an idea. And then acknowledging that there may be resistance to this goal, internal resistance that we're not even aware that we're carrying. Old ideas of what we think we should do or how we should be, stories from maybe our parents about how we should feel. So know that whether you're aware of your internal resistance or not, if you don't already have your goal, then there is some resistance in there. And we don't need to get rid of it. We just need to acknowledge it. We need to acknowledge that it exists. Welcome it in, give it a seat at the table. If you're aware of what your resistance is, you can give it a seat at the table by name. Come here, childhood idea that no longer serves me, and sit down. Tell me, what is your purpose? Because every piece of resistance is about keeping us safe. So thanking all of the resistance that may be holding you back, giving it a seat at the table, breathing it in as well. Let's just take another minute quietly to be with all of who we are. The dreams and the resistance to the dreams, the goals, and the things that hold us back from reaching them. This is radical. Breathe it all in. Great. And then I'm going to invite you to slowly start to move your body. You can take the breath a little deeper, just stretch and move any way that would feel good to you. I really encourage you to yawn or sigh or make some sound. Bring your knees in or stretch out, whatever would feel good. And in your own time, if you're ready, and you certainly don't need to, if you want to take a little longer and stay in a resting position, please do. And if you feel ready to come upright, take your time, come back to a seated position. And once again, we'll work with this gesture of coming into the place that we want to be emotionally and letting go or welcoming in, not letting go, welcoming in resistance. So we're going to take the arms to the sides, breathing in, reaching up,
gathering all that energy of where we want to go, pointing our compass in that direction and holding it steady, even with our resistance, even with the stories that we create or tell ourselves that we're not good enough, we don't deserve this, whatever your stories are. You want to welcome all of that in, bring it to the table, make some space by lifting your arms, opening your arms to say there is space for all of us here. Bringing the palms back together and carrying these pieces with you. Your desire, your resistance, known or unknown, and everything that is there with you as you point your compass in the direction of your greatest goal and dream of how you want to feel in your life, in your world, in your body. Namaste.